Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
What did the farmer say to the tired cow?
Could be a lot of things. Move over? Or what?
Move over? No, it's past your bedtime.
There you go.
This week's joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. So let's talk about perennials. Perennial vegetables, edibles, whatever you want to call them.
There's two categories. There's annuals, which are like tomatoes and eggplant and potatoes. You plant them that current year, they grow, you harvest, that's end. Perennials, you plant and they will come back year after year, like bulbs type of in that realm. So these are some vegetables or edible consumptional items in which we would recommend that if we knew what we know now 10 years ago, we would have planted these the first time we walked into the garden.
Right. And that's very true, especially
We'll get to it. First is strawberries. Now, there's June-bearing strawberries, which bear most of their produce in the month of June, and then there's ever-bearing, which they will produce throughout the season. We had June-bearing, and they did very well. We've talked about it several times in the program. We had a 20-foot by 15-foot area, and they kept multiplying, or the plants would propagate themselves through the daughter plants, which you can remove and transplant to a whole nother bed if you wanted to do such. And it worked out very well. And you have never understood the flavor of a strawberry, whether it's at a pick-your-own farm or grown in your backyard, compared to what they call strawberries at the grocery store.
Right. They are very delicious. They're very, they just have such an amazing flavor.
And these, you're homegrown, and you can start these from seed, which is a challenge, or you can get rootstock from your junkseed.com or your garden, your garden supplier. And that's what we did. Or you can actually buy the pre-grown starts in containers at your local garden center, which is the most expensive route to go. If you do the crown, you're going to probably not get any strawberries the first year, but you will get. It'll be much more affordable, and you got to be careful when you plant these that you don't plant them below the crown of the strawberry, because it will choke the plant out and it will kill it.
With that being said, if you see sometimes at these garden centers or even like the garden area of a large box store, you'll see these cute little hanging strawberry plant baskets.
Don't do it.
Don't buy those. I know they look cute. You're like, oh, I have these cute little strawberries, whatever. Don't do it.
You're going to get 7 strawberries off the plant, and you're going to forget to water, and it's going to die, and you spent, probably, what are they, $15 or something crazy like that at this point?
Yeah, probably.
An in-ground bed will last about 5 years off the original plants in which you grow. If you're concerned about pH, they need about a 5.3 pH level. So, full sun, and if you're concerned with birds, there's netting in which you can put over top of them in a frame or drape over top. Jerusalem artichokes, Holly, you can talk about this one.
Yeah, so Jerusalem artichokes, also known as sunchokes, are a perennial root crop, and they're actually part of the dahlia family. And you eat the roots, and it's basically like this kind of gnarly looking smaller potato. It's less starchy than a potato.
Some people may identify it like looking like ginger root.
Oh yeah, I guess it does look like ginger root. And it's less starchy than a potato. It's a lot of people who try to eat low starch do enjoy them because it's lower on the glycemic index, if you know what that means. And yeah, they are perennial, so they come back year after year. They do tend to spread a little bit, but once they spread to a certain point, they kind of just stop.
There is a burgundy root color, and then there is a white, and that is most prevalent in the online shopping. You're not going to find these at grocery stores to eat. You may find them occasionally at a farmer's market in the fall because they take 150 days to grow, full sun preferred, and they'll grow in any conditions, really, any soil conditions. And if you're trying to extract, if you're concerned, I want to have this bed regenerate next year, you're going to dig up the plant or the root ball, pull all the roots, all the tubers out that you think you can find, throw one big one back in the hole, move on to the next plant, and you're going to be fine. Even if you think you've got them all out, you haven't got them all out. But just like anything, the larger the tuber, the larger the plant's going to be the next year.
And you might think to yourself, what if I try to sell my house and then these are growing in the backyard?
Mow them down, don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Also, they do produce, usually pretty flowers. So,
and this is something that is called a survival food because a lot of people just think it's a tall weed and they don't know what's underneath of it, underneath the ground.
So let's talk about
asparagus. This is one that if we knew what we know now, the first time we would have walked in the garden, we would have planted a whole mess of asparagus. There's burgundy asparagus or purple. There's green asparagus, and then there's bleached asparagus, which you can do, which is the absence of sunlight, and you cover the asparagus and it comes out white. Asparagus, there is you can start it from seed, which can be very long time frame. You can get 1 year roots, 2 year roots, and 3 year roots, and you'll plant them. And typically between the 4-5 year time frame, you can start harvesting everything that's coming up out of that bed. There's specific ways to plant it. We're not going to get in the details of that, but you can buy, like the strawberries we spoke about, you can buy the root starts at your garden center or online, and based on how much you want to spend, the 3 years are much more expensive than the seeds or the 1 and 2 years, but you're going to get a return much quicker on that. And go ahead.
I do want to say, I know we're not going to get into specific ways of planting it, but make sure you do your research. Don't plant them and then waste your money and not plant them correctly.
Yes. And raspberries. We've got golden raspberries.
They're delicious.
Yes. We had 3 plants. Bottom, I guess, was around the time
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
And then they have raspberries are known to spread. Put runners underneath and shoot more plants up. And it's interesting that it's always going southward in the area that we've got. We had a little bed established, and we had to move a raised bed because they kind of infiltrated that. They've never gone north. They've always progressively worked south, which the sun kind of more goes on the south side. And probably in about another 2 years, we'll have enough to make a pie. We're getting quite a consumption of golden raspberries, which is a very unique taste compared to a red raspberry.
I want to make jam.
Or a blackberry. Okay.
I want to make jam.
Okay.
Or like a syrup.
Right.
Something like that.
Now, it's nothing like what you may find. Now, there are some people that have blackberry patches or raspberry patches where it is, 200 or 300 square feet, and they get gallons of berries at a time. We have property in the North Woods of Wisconsin where we have found a berry patch where we can go in and in 30 or 40 minutes can get 8-9 cups of blackberries for that instance. They've been established for many years and very prolific in certain areas.
I should make a jam with those.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Land jam.
That would be like a jelly, because I don't want the seeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know the seeds kind of get too much when you're, for me, for jam.
Now roses, you can eat rose hips. They've got vitamin C.
And people put them in their tea.
So roses can be grown. You need a full sun location, good drainage, fertilizer, and then basically almost all roses are perennials. So you can plant them, and they're different sizes, different shapes. There's some maintenance that goes along with them, but it is and the more you trim the flowers off as they start to fade away, the more blooms you're going to get. But roses are a very beautiful plant that you can get almost in every color imaginable. And if you see here, we've talked about this, there's just a warning to all of you. If you see on your favorite social media platform, a rainbow rose or a black rose.
Well, I think
rare, get the seeds now. It doesn't exist because Photoshop has been used and it's a fake deal. If the biggest seed companies in the world do not have this type of seed, it doesn't exist because they would have it. It's not some person in Boise, Idaho that has only 17 seeds and nothing else in the world exists. Use your common sense and don't do that.
Right.
But what you do want to do
is you want to use your common sense and check out Walton's Inc. We are brought to you today by Walton's Inc. We know that we care about where our food comes from, canning, preserving, etc. But at Walton's, you can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any other meat product your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's even has a full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers, and more to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's, everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more at waltonsinc.com.